Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This is not the wild, wild west here in the Philippines. I'm not talking about Chicago or Baltimore or London or Paris. I'm talking about the Philippines. But every day, almost every day, I get up, I read a little bit of online Philippine news on different newspapers, and almost every day somebody's getting stabbed or shot. The good news is that it rarely affects uh, foreigners, expats, tourists, fortunately. The bad news is that it occasionally does. Occasionally, one of the expats gets involved in this type of thing. And recently, just in the last few days, an ex Marine in Talisay City, just south of Cebu City, got into a property dispute with members of uh, his wife who had passed away. They wanted to take control of some of the property where he was living. As I have read the story, and this information can change as many stories do. The ex-marine was married to this lady, and he's a retired ex-marine. So I presume he is over 60, 65 years old. I believe that his wife was in her 40s when she died. Now, you generally expect that the older person is going to die first, but it doesn't always happen like that. Anyway, they had a house, a couple of cars, I believe, and the son of his wife uh, wanted to take possession of the house and two cars. And there were some discussions over time. They went to the barangay hall, had a discussion there, and this ex-marine left there without coming to an agreement. The barangay chief, as well as the son and at least one or two other people, went to the house a little later to try to have a conversation and settle this issue. And this ex-marine pulled out a long gun, a rifle, and killed two of them. Killed the barangay chief, killed the son. He apparently started the house on fire. I think about 50 police officers converged on the house, and he was killed in the ensuing gunfight anyway. Whatever your situation is now, or might be in the future, I suggest that you find a lawyer and you take care of legal issues that may come up so that you don't get involved in these heated arguments over property. And I believe that the Philippine law is that the family does inherit property like that unless you've taken some legal have legal documents to prove otherwise. If you have paid for everything, but everything is in the Filipino's name, you very possibly don't have any legal recourse. So see a lawyer, take care of the issue. As I said, this is not Baltimore or Chicago or London, um, but it's a different kind of culture here. And there's a lot of killings going on. Fortunately, the foreigners, the expats, don't get involved 99% of the time. But there's gun for hire uh, is pretty common. And two people on a motorbike, very common for two people on a motorbike to stake somebody out that they've either been paid or they have a grudge against. And clans are a very big thing here. And from January 13th till May 13th, just passed, we had an election. The election season, I think there were over 20 killings related to the election, and that's down from over 30 last year, so that's a good sign. There's a lot of undercover police operations against drug dealers, and and then people hold grudges against the police, the prosecutors, the judges, and some of them are getting killed. Um, there again, you want to be aware of your surroundings, and you probably don't want to hang around with the political families. Depends on the area, but these clans protect the areas that they control. They control the town, the barangay, the families, and the clans. And there were some NPA up in the hills, up in the more remote areas of Iloilo, and a while back, and the army was up there chasing them around, and they suggested tourists not go into that area. I feel safer here in many parts of the Philippines. I walk in areas that I would never think of walking in the USA cities, and feel quite safe here. But there's always risk, and you raise that risk when you go into some of the other areas. For instance, parts of Mindanao, different parts of these remote mountain areas where the NPA, the communists, try to control those areas, try to extort money from the different companies and the people. One should try to stay educated about the areas that you're going to travel in. The different tourist agencies can help, as well as embassies. I use an app on my phone to read world newspapers called, I think it's World Newspapers or Newspapers by Greenstream. And it works. I've tried a number of different apps. That seems to work best for me. I pay for the pro part to get rid of the ads, and seems to work. I think it's a couple dollars. Because so many of these killings take place with two people on a motorbike, they were going to try to make a law to make it more difficult to do that. One of the things, in fact, some cities have laws that you can't wear the face masks that many of them do to protect their face from the sun. And also, you can't, some places, they don't even want you to wear a helmet in their town. And then there are other laws that says you have to wear a helmet, and some laws say you can't wear a helmet because they want to be able to spot you with the different cameras in town, surveillance. And they come up with a new law that was going to require larger license plates on the front and back of motorbikes, and it looked like that was going to get passed. In fact, I think it was passed, and President Duterte was for it, but then he was convinced that it wasn't a good idea. So I think that is not going to happen in the near future. I have also read about this Guardian, and I think it's called Guardian Volunteer app for your phone, where you can try to contact security personnel, police, when you see a crime. But I have not been able to find that on the Google Play Store, so I don't know if that's available yet or what the deal is. Maybe some of you know something about it that I don't. While I'm talking about safety, I'm going to bring this up. Rabies. There was a Norwegian woman riding a scooter, I believe, if I read the story correctly, saw a scrawny little puppy on the side of the road, picked it up, took it home, and back to her hotel, apartment, whatever it was, nursed it back to health. And as it became more healthy and playful, started biting and scratching and things that little dogs and cats do, and went back to Norway. She became very ill rather quickly after that. The doctors were not aware of the bites of an animal back in the Philippines, didn't know what her problem was, and she died rather quickly after that, I believe. I like animals, and a lot of animals here, they don't seem to be afraid of you until you get close to them. And almost 100% of the time, these animals, if you try to pet them, they become alarmed, and they become very defensive, and they will bite or nip at you, run at you, bark. Anyway, stay away from the animals unless you know the pet. Just stay away from it. Rabies is a big deal here. The hospitals and medical clinics, the animal bite section is where they do most of their work. So I have learned from some very close calls to stay away from the animals. So they're not generally aggressive. They're not usually aggressive. They don't come after you unless you get too close and you try to interact with them. So my advice is to stay out of conflicts, stay out of confrontations with Filipinos or anybody else for that matter, as much as you can. As the song goes, leave your guns at home, son. Leave your guns at home, because it's just going to cause some irreparable damage. Anyway, yeah, the Philippines is a great place. I believe it's a very safe place for most people, unless you go looking for trouble or if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time.